Mr. President.
The senator from Kansas.
Mr. President, make no mistake about it, a vote to block the impeachment of Secretary Mayorkas is a vote to keep our borders open. It's a vote to continue the deadly track of lawlessness. It's a vote that tells Laken Riley's family and all those who have been victims of violent and gruesome crimes at the hands of illegal aliens, as well as the over 250,000 people who have died from fentanyl poisoning. What it says is that Democrats don't care. Ask any American and they'll tell you that every state is now a border state. We don't feel safe in our own communities, from inner cities to suburbs and throughout rural America. We're living in the consequences of this wide open southern border. So it should come as no surprise to my colleagues across the aisle that Americans are demanding accountability. They want to know why the cartel has more control of our border than DHS does. Disgracefully this week, we will witness a complete political charade that undermines this chamber's responsibilities and the oath we swore to protect this great nation. Skirting justice, accountability, and the very fabric of our democracy, the Senate Democrat leader is taking a historical measure to hide from the deadly border crisis his party's created and embraced. And why, you might ask? Why would they do this? They're so afraid that if Americans witnessed an open trial of Secretary Mayorkas and his record was exposed, it would seal the deal on the Democrat Party losing the White House and the majority of the Senate. They're very clearly worried about the next election and not the national security threat our wide open borders pose to the sovereignty of our nation. My hope here today is that America's watching. They will see the Senate Democrats line up to block the impeachment of Secretary Mayorkas and prevent his record from ever enduring a public trial. But make no mistake about this, come November, the good people from Montana and Ohio, from Michigan and Wisconsin, from Pennsylvania and Nevada will make their voices heard and hold their senators accountable. These Democrats had the opportunity this week to address the border crisis and send a clear message to the White House to address our most immediate national security threat and close the border now. Unfortunately, they won't stand up. They'll not allow the American people to see the true lawlessness that's been a direct result of the abject failures of Secretary Mayorkas. And their silence will send a clear message to the thousands of families who have been torn apart by the consequences of our wide open border. They simply don't care. My colleagues across the aisle don't want answers. They want to shield Secretary Mayorkas and the White House from any accountability and spare their party from the backlash in the press when Senate Republicans outline how dire the situation on our nation's border is. In orchestrating this cover-up, they're willing to undermine our Constitution and disrespect the honor and integrity of the impeachment process that has been observed and held fast by this body for over 200 years. In our nation's history, the Senate has never tabled an impeachment trial. That alone should tell every American how scared Senate Democrats are to share the true realities of the lawlessness happening right now at our borders across the United States. Secretary Mayorkas has failed his duty to protect our borders and uphold our laws. We have 11 million reasons to hold him accountable and impeach him. That's the 11 million encounters, including nearly 2 million gotaways that have shown up here on our soil under Mayorkas' watch. He's not just derelict in his duties, he's complicit in endangering the safety of every American. And yes, we understand the Democrat majority has the votes to table this hearing. But know this, history will not be so forgiving of this decision. The American people will not forget the betrayal of this chamber and their family's safety. Come November, we the people will speak loudly. The people, the citizens of this great republic, they are the true judges and the final jury. So please, to my colleagues across the aisle, there is still time to do the right thing, to vote in support of holding Secretary Mayorkas accountable. The American people will be watching. We must impeach Secretary Mayorkas for his failure to uphold his oath. If this chamber skirts its responsibility, We shall hold every one of the senators who blocked this impeachment trial accountable at the ballot box. Thank you. I yield back.